Good morning, students. Today we'll discuss viral hepatitis in children. Okay. So, what is hepatitis? Definition of hepatitis. So, hepatitis means inflammation of the liver. Inflammation of liver is hepatitis. But again, hepatitis is acute hepatitis, chronic hepatitis. What is acute hepatitis? When there is complete clinical and histological recovery within a period of 4 to 6 weeks, we'll say it is acute hepatitis. If it will persist for 6 months, then it is a chronic hepatitis. So hepatitis is inflammatory disorder of liver or inflammation of liver hepatitis. Acute hepatitis when it is 4 to 6 weeks, or remember 6 weeks. Acute hepatitis 6 month, chronic hepatitis. Okay, what are the etiology, common etiology of acute hepatitis? That is most always hepatotrophic viruses, followed by drugs, then metabolic glucotionics. So then now we'll go to see what are the etiology of hepatitis. So this is the features of hepatitis 1. So what are the etiology? In first is viral is common, then bacterial. So what are the viral etiology? Hepatitis A virus, B virus, C, like this A to G. Nowadays again come H and I. So total A to G 7 types of viruses that for this hepatitis. Now recently two came, that is H and I. So what other viruses? Cytomegalovirus, HIV, yellow fever. These are the other viruses causes your hepatitis. Non-viral viruses are toxoplasmosis, Q fever, leptospirosis, and third one is alcohol. Drug is paracetamol is most common cause of your hepatitis in our life, and halogen. Next is metabolic causes, most commonly in Wilson's disease. Then alpha 1 antitrypsin deficiency, and last one is ischemic. Ischemic means congestive cardiac failure, SOM, Buerger syndrome. These are the causes of etiology of hepatitis. So next, what are the hepatotrophic viruses? Hepatotrophic means those viruses primarily affect liver. These are not hepatotrophic viruses. What are the hepatotrophic viruses? These are from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and new one is H and I. So these are the hepatotrophic viruses. Primarily they affect liver. What other virus? That is adenovirus, cytomegalovirus, Epstein virus, herpes simplex. So what are the other non-hepatotrophic viruses? That means these viruses affect other organ. Same time your liver also affected. So what are the non-hepatotrophic viruses? These are mumps, measles, rubella, echovirus, Epstein virus. These are viruses that causes other part of the body, but same times it also affects liver. So these are not non-hepatotrophic viruses, and these are common viruses in our life. Or you will get all these cases in our words. So what is the difference between why we should learn about hepatotrophic non? But hepatotrophic viruses, these are hepatitis A virus and hepatitis B virus. These are two important viruses we have to learn or we have to know. But it's the non-hepatotrophic sometimes that is present with hepatitis with fever, means jaundice with fever, and features of also elevated transaminase level, means hepatic enzyme level. And these are after 7 days they recovery they will recover. Okay, so what happens after 7 days? All symptoms are decreases and the liver enzymes also decrease. So these are, then you will think that it may be non-hepatotrophic virus. With hepatitis, you also get the lymphadenopathy, throat infections, sore throat. So these are causes by non-hepatotrophic viruses. So from this we will diagnose which one is the hepatotrophic, which is non-hepatotrophic viruses. So what are the important is hepatotrophic viruses? What are the hepatotrophic viruses? So that is A to G. So what are the hepatitis A virus, B virus? What are the viruses that will cause enteric transmission? Enteric is most common is hepatitis A virus. Parenteral is most common is hepatitis B virus. We should consider about A and B virus. These two are important for us. Okay. Again, hepatitis. What are the RNA virus? And all are RNA virus except hepatitis B virus, which is double stranded DNA virus. Then next is what are the incubation period? Incubation period hepatitis A virus is your mean incubation period is 3 weeks. Otherwise 15 to 45 days. B virus 15 to 60 days. Hepatitis B virus is 3 months. Okay, 4 months. That's 45 to 160 days. That is 3 months is hepatitis incubation period. Mean incubation period of hepatitis B virus. Like this, we have to know the incubation period of all viruses. Then which one is will go to your chronic cases of chronic failure or chronic hepatitis? Always hepatitis B virus is first one which will in completion it will go to your chronic hepatitis or chronic carrier state. Chronic carrier state. So these are the viruses about their structure, about their antigens, their incubation periods, and their complications and their transmission. That's all about viruses, hepatotropic viruses. Now, we should know two viruses, that is hepatitis A virus and hepatitis B virus. These two are important for us. Before, hepatitis B is very fatal, but after vaccination, after repeated vaccination, nowadays hepatitis B is not dangerous. Hepatitis A is dangerous because it is infectious, it's contagious. So nowadays hepatitis is dangerous and is very fatal also. So what is hepatitis A? Hepatitis A is caused by a type 72 enterovirus. Before 1941, it was diagnosed as it's caused by type 72 enterovirus. 1971, it is named as hepatitis A. So hepatitis A is otherwise called a infectious hepatitis because it is contagious. It is transmitted by contact. So hepatitis A also called as infectious hepatitis or contagious hepatitis. And always hepatitis A causes acute hepatitis. Hepatitis A causes acute hepatitis and is self-limited disease. No treatment, no need, only supportive treatment required. And 85 to 95% cases only it is asymptomatic or non-icteric prevalence, or either 85% is icteric. In those cases present with hepatitis which have suppose liver disorder or some hemolytic disorder, those cases present with jaundice in hepatitis A. Although 85% you will get non-icteric febrile illness, only prodromal symptoms, and prodromal symptoms like flu-like symptoms are more as compared to other viruses. So hepatitis A, that is structure of that one. It's a RNA virus, and it is always causes acute hepatitis, and 85% cases you will get non-icteric, and prodromal symptoms are more as compared to your other viruses, even hepatitis B viruses. What are the risk factors? More common risk factors are low socioeconomic status by overcrowding, poor hygienic condition, food and water. These are the risk factors where you will get because of contagious, because of contact, which is spread. Next, hepatitis B. Hepatitis B, this virus also is called serum hepatitis. Serum hepatitis because it is transmitted through parenteral route, through blood, serum. So it's a hepatitis B, otherwise called serum hepatitis. So what is the structure of this hepatitis B? That is core, surface and core. So within core you will get, that is genome DNA, DNA polymerase, hepatitis C antigen, hepatitis E antigen. These four things you will get in core. Surface you will get surface antigen, HBs surface antigen you will get surface. Then the genome DNA. That is, so the genome DNA code for 4 genes. That is DNA polymerase, surface antigen gene, then HBX gene, one HBC gene. So HBX gene is responsible for oncogenesis or carcinoma. So that's why hepatitis B is in complication of hepatitis B, so you will get carcinoma, hepatocellular carcinoma. Which gene is responsible? That HBX gene. Okay, the DNA coding for HBX gene. That HBX gene is responsible for oncogenesis. Remember that. These are viral tests. These are where you have to diagnose a hepatitis B case. You have to diagnose these antigens. These are viral markers of hepatitis B. So transmission. Transmission first is by parenteral. First is transmission is through. First we will see what are the concentration or the bacillary load in our bacillary load is high in body fluids. And high bacillary load you will get, or high load is viral load you will get in blood, serum, wound. In this body fluid you will get high viral load. Moderate in semen, vaginal fluid, saliva. Low or not detectable in urine, feces, sweat, tears and place. So low or not detectable. These are the body fluids where you will get viral load. So transfusion is more through blood products, blood or transfusion flow, and that is called. So one is vertical transfusion, one is horizontal transfusion. Vertical transfusion is mother to baby. So suppose your mother affected during delivery or last trimester, C affected with hepatitis B. Then the baby will present after 2 to 3 months. Immediately present like this. And if mother is HBe positive, then there is 80 to 90% chance that baby will suffer. If mother is HBs positive but HBe negative, means that is not in infectious state, then that chances are only 20% that baby will suffer from hepatitis B. Okay, that is vertical transmission. Horizontal transmission like transfusion, blood through blood products, fluids, contaminated needles, organ transmission. These are the other horizontal transmissions, okay, of hepatitis B. So, as pathogenesis first hepatitis C. Hepatitis C, it is a type 72 enterovirus. Type 72. So, it enters to our body through fecal-oral route, and that viruses multiply. They are multiply in our small intestine. In the multiply, then it enters the hepatocytes through portal vein. Through portal vein, it enters the liver. In the liver, that viruses attach to the receptor of the hepatocyte, and then it enters the hepatocytes. Okay, that is enterium. Then it causes damage to the hepatocytes, not direct by cytopathogen. It causes damage to the hepatocytes through immunogenic, through T cell mediated damage. Okay, so hepatitis A or hepatitis B both are not direct cytopathogen. They are immunogenic. Hepatitis A affects through T cell mediated damage. Like this hepatitis B. Hepatitis B also till now doesn't know how it will enter to the hepatocytes. But some told that the hepatitis B enters through it attached to the receptor. Through the receptor, it attached to the your hepatocyte surface antigen. Then there is sharing of, or there is it creates or it develops surface antigen HPC-HB antigens. These HPC-HB antigens are exposed to the HLA, type 1 HLA. Like this, that immunogenic system developed by this process damage to the hepatocytes. Till now, they are not clear about hepatitis B. So these are the pathogenesis that enters how it damages the hepatocytes. Always that not direct by cytopathogen, not directly, always through immunogenic or through immune systems. So next is what are the clinical features? Clinical features of hepatitis, or you say clinical acute hepatitis. So the clinical features in hepatitis A is different and hepatitis B is different. So common is only prodromal symptoms. What are the symptoms? That is first loss of appetite. Why there is loss of appetite? That is due to taste disturbance. That is loss of taste. That is change in taste. That's why there is reduced appetite. And first symptoms appear in hepatitis. There is reduced or loss of appetite. So first symptoms in hepatitis, viral hepatitis. This is a question MCQ. So what is the first symptoms in your viral hepatitis? Reduce or loss of appetite. Second thing, fever. Fever may be due to infection. If there is infection or inflammation, you will get fever. So fever is there is infection is there. Next is there is weakness. Why there is weakness? Weakness is due to when there is an infection, your body fight to the infection. Same time, all our energy are used by your body to fight against. Same time, due to your infection, you have anxiety, depression. So all this causes weakness or fatigue in hepatitis. Again, due to hepatitis, there is decreased synthesis of what? Decreased synthesis of glycogen or glucose. That's why you also get less energy from your body also. That's why you will get weakness or fatigue in hepatitis. Next is where there is nausea vomiting. Nausea vomiting is due to the irritation. In hepatitis, what happens? In hepatitis, there is increased liver size. And liver size also irritates your stomach, just close to your left lobe of liver, that irritates the stomach. Same time, there is due to some retention of some collection of fluid in the abdomen. That also causes irritation. So you will get nausea. And hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus directly causes nausea by appendix stoma. So this is the nausea and vomiting in hepatitis. Next is why there is digestive symptoms or diarrhea in hepatitis. In hepatitis also due to same due to some infection, or that is some mediators, that is also due to hepatitis. What happens due to hepatitis? There is cholestasis. When there is cholestasis, that decrease bile secretion to your intestine, second part of the duodenum. So decrease bile, that decreases digestion or absorption of your food materials. That's why that causes, and there is collection of food materials. So the fat soluble or fatty foods, they cannot absorb or digested. So that causes your diarrhea in hepatitis. That is one cause. Another cause is mediators. That mediators causes irritation, and that also causes some digestive like diarrhea, constipation. Whereas there is dark urine and there is pale stool. Why pale stool? What happens? This conjugated bilirubin. Conjugated bilirubin comes to the second part of the duodenum through bile. Okay. So second part of duodenum. After this conjugated bilirubin becomes unconjugated by some reductase enzyme to unconjugated. So again 85 to 15 to 25% reabsorbed to again liver hepatocytes. 85% that is comes to the terminal ileum and scrotum, where it changes to urobilinogen by the Clostridium ramosum with the help of E. coli. That and others, then again it changes to the stercobilin. Stercobilin or again changes to stercobilin. So stercobilin gives the color of the stool as brown color. So when there is hepatitis, there is cholestasis, there is congestion, that the cholestasis, so decrease conjugated bilirubin to the duodenum. So and again there is decreased conversion of decreased production of stercobilin. So that's why you will get pale stool. So when there is hepatitis, there is congestion, there is cholestasis. Cholestasis decrease bilirubin to the duodenum. So decrease stercobilin. So you will get pale stool. Same times there is absorption of the more, usually 15 to 20% reabsorb or undergo enterohepatic circulations. In that case, what happened? More than 50% undergo enterohepatic circulation, and that excreted by urine. So that's why you will get dark urine. Okay, so why there is pale stool and dark urine in hepatitis A. So then one more sign. What are the signs? Two signs you will get. One is jaundice. These are the symptoms. But two signs you will get. One is jaundice and one is tender hepatitis. What are the signs and symptoms of hepatitis? These are the symptoms of hepatitis. What are the signs of hepatitis? One is jaundice. Second one is tender hepatomegaly. Why jaundice? First, when hepatitis will get first jaundice or yellow color. Jaundice is a condition where you will get yellow coloration of the conjunctiva, skin, mucosa membrane. Why this is? Because bilirubin is high affinity towards elastic fibers, and elastic fibers are more in sclera than compared to the skin and mucosa membrane. So that's why first you will get bilirubin in sclera. That's why you will get jaundice, and your sclera looks yellow. Okay. What is then you will get bilirubin, the 85% from RBC and 15% only from non-RBC. The bilirubin, when you will get when you will say jaundice, when the bilirubin is more than or direct bilirubin is more than 2 milligram. Normal production is 0.8 to 1 milligram per deciliter. Normal bilirubin production, your normal bilirubin serum is 0.8 to 1 milligram per deciliter. Normally production is 4 milligram per kg in the older children and 8 milligram per kg in neonates. When it is more than 2 milligram per deciliter, you will get jaundice. In neonates, when it is more than 5 milligram per deciliter. Okay, that is the jaundice. You will say jaundice. Again, jaundice will be more in hepatocellular cases. Suppose when there is hepatitis, that is hepatocellular hepatitis. When there is cholestatic hepatitis, the jaundice will be less, because in cholestatic hepatitis, the bile duct excretion is more. So due to bile duct excretion, it also excretes bilirubin. So you will get less jaundice in cholestatic jaundice. Whereas hepatocellular jaundice, the bile salt production is decreases. So bile salt production decreases, so that decreases excretion of bilirubin. So you will get more jaundice in hepatocellular jaundice, hepatocellular, and less in cholestatic. So next is that is so jaundice. Then in exam will ask what is the cause of jaundice? Why you will get jaundice in yellow coloration of conjunctivitis first? That is the cause because bilirubin has high affinity towards elastic fibers. Elastic fibers are more in sclera as compared to the skins. So you will get first yellow coloration conjunctiva, then skin. Again, when there is recovery period, the bilirubin will release from or decreases from blood first. But due to high affinity, your bilirubin in elastic tissue decreases or decrease slowly. So there is a difference. Even if in your blood your bilirubin comes to normal, still you will get your sclera will be yellow. So that is a difference. So so you will say jaundice according to our degree of jaundice according to your blood serum bilirubin. Tender hepatomegaly. And when there is infection, there is swelling of hepatocytes. When there is infection, there is swelling of hepatocytes. The work of hepatocytes increases. Or due to mediators, there is swelling of hepatocytes. So when there is hepatocytes increase size, that causes enlargement of your liver. But same time there is no nerve supply to the liver, but this capsule of the liver stretched, and the stretching of the capsule causes tenderness. So you will get a tender hepatomegaly. When you touch the abdomen, the baby will say means that is tender, and you will get also palpable liver. So that is tender hepatomegaly is a sign of hepatitis. Okay, so again one symptoms is that is pain abdomen. Why there is pain abdomen in hepatitis? The pain abdomen is pain is around the right abdomen, that's around the liver, and that pain is due to stretching of the capsule of the liver. So most common features or most commonly baby will present like this: loss of hepatitis, pain abdomen, diarrhea, and conjunctiva, jaundice, yellow coloration conjunctiva, and diarrhea or constipation may or may not. These are the symptoms we will present in hepatitis. Hepatitis, that is hepatitis A. This all are podocytes. What are the difference between hepatitis A and hepatitis B? Hepatitis B present in hepatitis A always in acute hepatitis, and that is prodromal symptoms are more. In hepatitis B, what happened? They will present either inapparent. Inapparent is asymptomatic, but you will get jaundice, or you will get elevated transaminase, means liver enzyme. That is asymptomatic or inapparent hepatitis. Secondly, what is the progress of hepatitis in B? First is prodromal symptoms. First is anicteric hepatitis. Anicteric is then icteric hepatitis. Okay, anicteric means that then you will get fever. You will get fever, your elevated transaminase or liver enzyme, but there is no jaundice. When there is fever subsides, then have jaundice will appear. So what is the progress of disease in hepatitis B? Initially, even if before onset of symptoms or jaundice, always in hepatitis elevation of liver enzyme 2 weeks before onset of symptoms. So first there is elevation of enzymes. Then after this the symptoms will appear. After 2 weeks of elevated of liver enzyme, your jaundice will appear, and this liver enzyme continue. After 2 weeks of again, so first liver enzyme, then symptoms, then jaundice. Again after 2 weeks of jaundice, the liver enzyme decreases, and the jaundice will persist for 4 to 6 weeks. So in hepatitis, liver enzyme will continue for 2 to 3 months, and this bilirubin or jaundice will persist for 4 to 6 weeks. So this is a trend. So in hepatitis A, you will get post-prodromal symptoms more, and 15% cases you will get jaundice. And those having some disorder like liver disease, hemolytic disease, or some bleeding disease, in that cases jaundice will be more. But hepatitis B present with asymptomatic hepatitis B, anicteric hepatitis, icteric hepatitis, then it will proceed to chronic hepatitis. This is the progress of disease in disease of hepatitis B. So like this, these are clear pictures. You also got you'll get splenomegaly, lymphadenopathy. So what are the other organs, other parts of the body affected in viral hepatitis B? That is, you will get arthritis, arthralgia, myocarditis, then the nephrotic syndromes, nephritis, okay, polymyalgia rheumatica. Like this, other things also will get in hepatitis B. Next is what the lab diagnosis. Lab is always first isolation of virus is the first one. But in hepatitis B, you have to demonstrate virus in feces. For hepatitis A, for hepatitis B, that is virus isolation in body fluids. So in hepatitis B, what happens? In hepatitis A, the virus shed in stool, or shedding of virus in stool 2 weeks before onset of symptoms and 1 week till 1 week after jaundice. So this is the period maybe that virus will set in stool. So setting of virus in stool, that is 2 weeks before onset of symptoms, 1 week after jaundice. That is the period. That time it is very infectious. So we can isolate or demonstrate virus in feces by immunoelectron microscope. And for hepatitis B or C or D, we have to isolate virus isolation through body fluids. Second thing, detection of antibody. Detection of antibody. So what are the antibodies? What is the, for diagnosis of hepatitis A, the antibody is the immunoglobulin M. IgM is the antibody we have to detect. That is the diagnosis of hepatitis A. And that IgM is this. IgM appear late incubation period, but before symptoms. IgM appear late incubation period, but before symptoms, and it will peak 2 to 3 weeks. Then after it will decrease. But if your IgM will persist for 3 months, 2 to 3 months, it will persist. And IgE also appear just after, just immediately after IgM, it will persist throughout life. Okay. So IgM, detection of IgM will say it is a recent infection, whereas detection of IgG is a remote infection. In case in also hepatitis A also, enzymes are elevated before onset of symptoms. That is detection of antibody. So in hepatitis A, detection of antibody IgM, detection of IgM antibody is the diagnosis of hepatitis A, and it will say it's a recent infection and it appears late incubation period. Then in hepatitis B, what are the antibody? See, what are the antibody or antigen in hepatitis B? Just exposure to hepatitis B, first appearance of hepatitis surface antigen. First antigen appear in your body fluid is hepatitis surface antigen. Okay, that will persist for your 3 months. Okay, before appearance of symptoms or elevation of enzymes. So surface antigen first appear before onset of symptoms and liver enzyme and persist for 3 months. So towards the end of 3 months, the surface antigen decreases. After short period of disappearance of your surface antigen, antibody appear. That's SBS antibody appears. So there is a gap. That gap is called window period. Okay. Then immediately after surface antigen, second antigen is your HBe antigen. HBe antigen appear immediately after surface antigen and disappear before disappearance of surface antigen. What is the role of that HBe antigen? HBe antigen will say this infected. That is the period where there is replication of the virus. So it will say it is infective period of the virus. So by HBe antigen positive means that is the time that patient is infected period or infection. You can transmit virus. Then antibody E is appear after that and disappear before appearance of the antibody, HBs antibody. The third antigen is HBc antigen. HBc antigen not appear in blood because it is inside the coat of HBs antigen. So this antigen now will not come to your body fluids, but antibody appears first. So HBC antibody appear first, antibody appear in hepatitis B, then other antibody. Again, this no in window period is the period where there is no HBS antibody, no HBE antibody, but there is HBC antibody. So when you will get HBC antibody and no other antibody means that is the window period. Okay, these are the antigen and antibody. So detection of anti-IgM and HPC antibody. IgM, HPC antibody means there is recent infection. When there is, you will get IgG, HPC antibody, that is remote infection. Presence of anti-E antibody means there is infected period, but not in infectious. There is antibody developed. HBE antigen means that's infected. Okay. So these are the detection of antibody. Then biochemical test. Biochemical test. Biochemical three things you have to see. One is there is test for infection. The test for infection you have to do like this. BCA TLC you will get there is increase WBC means you will get lymphocytosis. Also you will get that is decreased hematopoiesis and decrease your bone marrow suppression also you will get. So you will get aplastic anemia, but that is you will get same time you will get lymphocytosis. That is indicator of infections. But about the liver, what are the liver? Liver. So you have the indicators of cytopathic damage. Indicators of hepatocyte damage. So these are liver enzymes. What are the liver enzymes? That is ALT and AST. Or you will get SGPT and SGO. So what are these enzymes? SGPT is specific for hepatocytes. SGPT is specific for hepatocytes. Whereas SGOT is you will get in also bone, your kidney, your brain. In other sites also you will get SGOT. So and SGPT half-life is only 18 hours. And whereas SGOT half-life is 48 hours. So when there is infections or there is acute hepatitis, you will get first there is rise in SGPT. SGPT is specific for hepatocytes and is a cytosolic enzyme. Cytosol inside hepatocyte, cytosol of the hepatocyte. When there is damage to the hepatocytes, they will come to the blood. So that is these two enzymes are marker of hepatocyte damage. And first enzyme eliminated is your SGPT or ALT. That because of their half-life is 18 hours. And your SGOT half-life is 48 hours. So it is the marker of chronic hepatitis. Okay, when you will get more rise in SGOT than SGPT, that means the baby is in chronic states, chronic hepatitis. So these are two enzymes. These are and SGPT is your cytosolic enzyme. SGOT is mitochondrial and cytosolic enzyme. So when there is damage to hepatocytes, these two enzymes comes to your blood and you get elevated these enzymes. These two are markers of hepatic damage. Second thing, what is the cholestasis? What are the enzymes? That is for cholestasis. When there is infection, there is swelling of the hepatocytes. When there is swelling of hepatocytes, that will narrow the bile canal, so that there is congestion, there is regurgitation of all enzymes to the blood. What are the enzymes in canalicular? So alkaline phosphatase, GGT means gamma glutamine transferase. These enzymes are released from canalicular membrane of the hepatocytes. Okay, so when there is narrowing or there is decreased bile tract, the biliary canal gully, these enzymes are regurgitated into blood. So rise your enzymes. So for cholestasis, marker of cholestasis is alkaline phosphatase, gamma glutamine transferase. So alkaline phosphatase again not only specific for hepatocytes, it also you will get in bone, kidney, skeletal. So alkaline phosphatase is also not a specific marker. GGT is a specific marker of cholestasis. When there is a rise, is only GGT with ALP, alkaline phosphatase, GGT, you will say this cholestasis. So you should know all these liver enzymes, where it is released, what is the applied. So electronically, then you can diagnose it. So these are the two enzymes for marker of cholesterol. Then next is whether there is damage that your after hepatitis, how much damage to the liver, what is the condition of the liver, what is the status of liver, that liver is in a good condition or it's going towards bad, means towards chronic stage or in failure stage. How to know? These are the synthetic. So what are the synthetic marker of your liver? These are albumin, globulin. Okay. So what are the albumin is protein synthesis. 85-95% main synthesis of protein is your liver synthesize protein. And out of this all protein, albumin production is more. That's 3.5 to 5 grams. So when there is damage to liver, the synthesis decreases. And half-life of albumin is only 21 days. So when there is damage or your hepatitis is long period, there is production or synthesis of this albumin decreases. When there is decrease in synthesis of albumin less than 3.5 means 5% gram percent means that is that your liver enter to the chronic stage. Your hepatitis now enter to the chronic stage. Like this globulin, but globulin not a specific marker of synthesis because. So what are the globulins? That is alpha 1 globulin, alpha 2 globulin, beta globulin, gamma globulin. So gamma globulin is our IgM, IgG. These are antibodies are our gamma globulin. So when there is infections, this actually the albumin globulin is normal. It's 2:1 ratio. But when there is infection, it will change to 1:2 ratio. Means albumin synthesis decreases and globulin, that is IgM antibody, will increase. So you will get that's reverse 1:2 ratios. So from this you will know that maybe there is infection or not. Okay, that is a sign of that is a marker. Otherwise, albumin is the synthetic marker of liver and also globulin. Not but globulin not a specific. These are the synthetic marker or decrease synthesis of these enzymes or proteins in hepatitis. What are the prothrombin time? When there is hepatitis, the prothrombin time increases. Normal prothrombin time is 12 seconds, 12 to 13 seconds. So when there is more than 2 seconds, increase 2 seconds, that means there is some pathological conditions. Remember, when there is 12 to 14, when there is 14 means there is some pathological condition. When there is 3, increase 3 means 12 plus 15 means definitely there is some bleeding problem, the chances of bleeding. Okay. So when there is 5 means 12 plus 5, 17 means there is that liver is entered with your failure stage. Okay. So remember 2, 3, 5. 2 is pathology, 3 is your bleeding, and 5 is your failure. So that is prothrombin. One more is international normalizing ratio, INR. So INR means that prothrombin is vary in lab to lab. That is, so they kept one is 1.3. So when the INR is more than 1.3 means there is failure stage. Okay. So these are the markers, enzymes, proteins. These are the markers of the condition of the status of the liver. Okay, proteins. Then molecular diagnosis RT-PCR. So this is a lab diagnosis of hepatitis, both hepatitis A and hepatitis B. Treatment. Treatment of hepatitis is always treatment of hepatitis is supportive means you have to give rest because of use of calorie. You give rest. Then hydration. You give hydration. Then give calorie. Okay. And always the food should be soft and small feed and multiple feeds, not at a large feed. Okay. So that there is more vomiting or nausea. So small, nutritious calorie, and that is small and multiple feeds. These are the and with hydration. And ever give sometimes also you have to give protein also. Okay, because you have to decrease protein, you have to give protein. These are you have to make that support. If there is any vomiting, you have to take a fever, then treatment of fever. So supportive treatment. Next is one prevention. How to prevent? Prevention. That is one is vaccine, one is immunology. So in hepatitis A, what is the vaccine? we are getting inactivated vaccines. These vaccines are two doses. Two doses. First dose is we are giving in IAP vaccine, Indian Academic Pediatrics or WHO. We are giving first dose in during 1 year. 1 year. Suppose then after 6 months, second dose. So after second dose, the seroconversion means antigen to antibody production is 95 to 100% after second dose. So and it will give protection for 20 to 30 years. Even if single dose also, you will give protection for 20 to 30 years, but chances in 70 to 80%. But after two doses, there is 95 to 100% your seroconversion, 95 to 100% seroconversions and protection 20 to 30 years. Okay, one other than immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin means that is you have to give the dose is 0.02 ml per kg. You have to give in hepatitis A. Hepatitis A you give 0.02 ml per kg. Again, that is pre-exposure and post-exposure prophylaxis. In pre-exposure, you have to give single dose. Okay, but in post-exposure, you have to only give with vaccine. You have to give that immunoglobulin. That immunoglobulin is really protection. It will be effective after 1 to 2 weeks. Once you give immunoglobulin, it will be protective after 1 to 2 weeks, and it will give protection till 3 months. Immunoglobulin will give presence. Suppose post-exposure. Post-exposure, you will give immunoglobulin immediately. It will act after 1 to 2 weeks and be protected the protection till 3 months. Okay. So hepatitis A vaccine is 2 doses. That is inactivated vaccine. You have to give by 1. Normally in our IP immunization, you are giving it 1 year. Then after 6 months. Okay. In older children, you also will give any first dose. Then after 6 months of first dose, you will give second dose. And after 2 doses, your seroconversion is 95 to 100%, and it will protect for 20 to 30 years. That is hepatitis A. Immunoglobulin B. Sorry, in hepatitis B. Hepatitis B. Suppose there is vertical transmission. What is vertical transmission? One is horizontal transmission. What happened in vertical transmission? Vertical transmission. Suppose mother, you don't know, you know the mother's condition. Mother is negative, HPS negative. Then in that case, you will give first dose of hepatitis B vaccine 6 weeks. So first is 6, 10, 30. So hepatitis B vaccine is 3 doses. Hepatitis vaccine is 3 doses. So what are the schedule? One is you can give 0 means at birth, then 6 weeks, then 14 weeks, one schedule, or 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, another schedule, or 0, 6 weeks, 6 months, 3 schedule. Out of 3 schedule is ideal schedule is 0, 6 weeks, 6 months is the ideal schedule. These are schedules and ideal schedule. But suppose in one mother, one baby delivered, where mother HPS negative, you know that. In that case, no need to give, or suppose you forgot to give, no problem. You have to give 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, 3 days. Suppose you don't know the status of the mother, HPS positive or you don't know. In that case, immediately you have to give at birth, first dose. Then 6 weeks and 14 weeks. Or 0, 6 weeks, 6 months. These two you can follow. Suppose mother is HPS positive, then what will do? Immediately you have to give first dose of vaccines with immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin you should give within 12 hours. Okay. Then 6 weeks, then 6 months. This is the 95 seroconversion occurs after second dose of hepatitis B vaccine. Then is the hepatitis B positive mother. Baby should receive first dose of vaccines and immunoglobulin within 12 hours, then 6 weeks, then 6 months. That is the. Suppose mother cannot afford immunoglobulin. Suppose mother cannot afford immunoglobulin, or you did not get that immunoglobulin and within 12 hours. What will you do? You have to give 8 months, 0, then 1 month, then 2 months. Fourth one you have to give around 9 months. 0, 1 to 9 months. So you have to give 4 doses when you will not get immunoglobulin. That is all about here. Suppose older children that pre-exposure, post-exposure. Those between 1 year to 40 years, always you have to give, they will get, they should take with vaccine immunoglobulin. But those above 40, they must, immunoglobulin is a must. Even if not hepatitis vaccine, they should take immunoglobulin. What is the dose of immunoglobulin? Here the dose of immunoglobulin, adult dose of immunoglobulin is 1000 to 2000 international unit. But in children, it is 30 to 50 international unit per kg. And you have to give within 48 hours. I'm not telling you about the neonates. I'm telling you older children. So whenever there is exposure, you have to take within 48 hours, you have to take immunoglobulin, that is 30 to 50 international unit per kg. And if late, it is you should take within 7 days, and it will protect for 20 to 30 days. But in neonate, what is the dose of immunoglobulin? That is 100 to 200 international unit you have to give, and that is within 12 hours. And if late, it should be within 5 days. 12 hours, 5 days, and it will protect again 3 months. It will protect 3 months. Again, after 3 months, you have to give another dose. In neonate, you have to give another dose because they are not exposed to these viruses. You don't know that. So in neonate, you have to give second dose of immunoglobulin after 3 months. That is better than single dose. Now, you want to know whether antibody developed or not. When you have to do this test, so you have to do all test, whether your antibody value, antibody quantity, what is the antibody level in your body, it is appropriate or not to fight against it. That to know, you have to do test, surface antigen test, antibody test. That is after 3 months of completion of your schedule. Suppose 6 months is the last dose of hepatitis B vaccines or immunoglobulin over, then 9 months you have to do the test. So if your serum level of antibody is more than 10, then no need. That's again 3 types. But you have to know that's 10. If more than 100, then you are protected. Okay, you will be protected by your antibody. If it is more than 10, no need to take. No need to take. But under 10 means you have to take booster dose. That is you have to do. That's a prevention. Okay. What are the complications? Complications in hepatitis A is your cholestatic hepatitis. Cholestatic, that is congestion, cholestasis, hepatitis, or that is your relapsing after 3 months, again appearance of elevation of enzyme and liver enzyme. That is relapsing hepatitis. Cholestatic hepatitis, relapsing hepatitis, you will get in hepatitis A. Whereas hepatitis B, you will get chronic hepatitis. That jaundice will persist for 6 months. Liver enzyme also persist for more than 6 months. Okay, so and that is next is one is chronic hepatitis. Then carrier, even if baby is asymptomatic, your liver enzyme is elevated. That is what is the liver enzyme level in acute hepatitis? Liver enzyme level is 10 times more than normal. If your liver enzyme SGPT, SGOT is 10 times more than normal, then you think always acute hepatitis. Whereas in carrier chronic hepatitis, the enzyme level will decrease maximum 5 times. And in drug induced hepatitis, that is paracetamol. In drug induced hepatitis, it is again 10 or more than 10 times than normal. So from this enzyme level, so you can diagnose that is the cause. So then one is your chronic hepatitis, one is carrier. Who is the most common carrier or is the dangerous carrier? Neonates have 90% neonates are more carrier for chronic hepatitis. Then children are only 10 to 20%. Okay. If any doubt, you send mail or you ask next class. So complications of hepatitis B is your chronic hepatitis, carrier, then subacute hepatic failure. What is subacute hepatic failure? That is subacute, acute, chronic. That is according to the duration. 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. According to duration, that is your failure. Okay. So complication is stop to hepatic failure. But all what does it mean? That's aplastic anemia also. Then bone marrow suppression due to yes, it is a virus that causes suppression of bone marrow suppressions. Okay. You will get nephrotic syndrome. Okay. Then renal failure, ARMs you will get. Then what else? The cirrhosis, hepatocellular carcinoma is the last one. What is the cause? Which antigen is antigen is responsible for the gene responsible for that is HBX antigen gene. HBX antigen gene is responsible for oncogenesis or hepatocellular carcinoma in hepatitis. So these are the all complications during hepatitis. Okay. So in the exam you definitely will get your hepatitis case. So question will ask question why there is jaundice, why there is your conjunctiva or sclera is yellow first. Then why there is pain abdomen? What are the signs of hepatitis? That is jaundice, tender. Remember tender hepatomegaly. Only hepatomegaly is not there. Tender hepatomegaly is the pain abdomen, tender hepatomegaly, and jaundice. These are the signs of symptoms of signs of. And once what are the complications? What are the then we will ask about the vaccines. What are the vaccines? Hepatitis B vaccines. What are dose, schedule, ideal schedule, and what are the vertical transmissions? So hepatitis B means these are the question we will ask, and definitely you will get hepatitis case in your even not in your hepatomegaly case you will get means you will ask hepatitis. So read hepatitis properly and about the enzymes, antibodies, these are. If possible, read all about the enzymes. What are the enzymes? Liver enzymes, liver synthetic markers, cholestatic markers. These are also important for your hepatitis. So this is all about hepatitis. Okay. Thank you.